alright. Hold on. Un momento. What am I waiting for? Oh, yeah. We're just gonna start it right there. Okay. Sometimes there's a bit of a lag and it irks me. Anyway, where's chat? Chat. There we go, chat. Hi, hello. Hopefully I fixed the chat window so y'all should appear right here. But if not, we'll just hold hands and cry. And I'm gonna put these on because it's too warm to wear a jacket, but it's just chilly enough to want to cover your arms. And I don't like wearing long sleeves usually because they just cut off circulation in my arms. Because I got big beefy arms. Where's the thumb hole on this thing? There it is. I love wearing these types of t-shirts, but my goodness, they either bunch up here or choke me here. No in between. Anyway. Hi, hello. We got the dead inside mug. Hang on. With only a little bit of cold coffee in here. We're going to be switching to Monster very shortly in the stream. But in the meantime, how ya doing? I actually tried to do something a little bit cool with my hair. Because usually my hair is just flat. It's flat, plastered to the side of my head, and staticky. Frizzy and dry. So I'm just... ugh. So whenever I try something new with my hair, I always get antsy and irritated. Hi, Dancing Diva! Is the chat box working? Nope. Alright. Then what are you even here for? I tried... I went straight into Streamlabs, switched it over, got the widget that's supposed to capture both YouTube and Twitch streams, even though I'm only streaming on YouTube, for the chat, and then Streamlabs sucks. I think if I'm gonna continue streaming on YouTube and Twitch, I'll just use Streamlabs for Twitch, and then for YouTube, I'll use, like, something else. Maybe, like, OBS or something. See if it comes back. Because I used to use OBS, and then something happened, and it wouldn't load up on my computer anymore. And then I switched to Live 2D, not Live 2D, excuse me, Prism Live, which did dual streaming for free, which was really cool. It had a lot of cool widgets on it, but then it kept crashing my computer because it was just a beast of a program. So I was like, you know what, let's just do Streamlabs. This is just Streamlabs. And then, you know, a lot of what the other programs offered for free, you have to pay for on Streamlabs. So I'm like, cool. I love it. I'm just constantly futzing with my hair. It's because I need a haircut. Honestly, look. This is too long for me. I need at least a good 3 inches off the bottom. Because it just sits on the back of my neck. And overheats me. The kitty came in. Hawk. I have the window open because it is actually really nice out. Hey. Okay, well, obviously she's watching birds or something. Is this still here? Yeah, that's still here. Okay. So there's that. Okay, there's that. This camera. I'm gonna need you to lock in. So I'm sorry once again, chat, you're not gonna appear on stream, even though, or on screen, even though you're right here. I can still see y'all. So no monkey business. Put y'all right there. On my window. Just gonna close that a little bit over there. Can't stay long, just have another thing I gotta go do soon. Just wanted to pop in and say hi. Well, hello, Marcus. To keep up the streak. How's the comet been going? The comet has the comic has been going great. I, on the other hand... Alright, what layer am I on? What tool am I using? What? That's the wrong reference sheet. Comic's been going fine. The only... Oops. The only sitch that has happened is with DeviantArt, because usually, you know, I used to have a core account on DeviantArt where I could, like, schedule posts. So, like, the next page would go live on time every Tuesday and Thursday, and all I'd have to do is then switch, you know, add the links, the proper links, and then I could, like, sleep in. But, oh my good lordy, ran out of core, and I looked at the prices, and I went... Having a migraine the previous night doesn't bode well. It wasn't a migraine, it was a sinus ache. Big difference. But yes, ranting about Transformers Prime is just... Don't get me started. That's the wrong color. I'd prefer to have this rant when my sister's around, because she also knows all the dirt on what was going on behind the scenes for Transformers Prime, and now we both can't even stand to watch the show. But she's out shopping! It's fine. One thing I will say that, you know, even... that infuriates me about Transformers Prime, and I'll get into it just for you, Marcus. A lot of people say, you know, they applaud Transformers Prime for being the darkest Transformers show and having the most deaths. Off the top of my head, I can only count 6 named characters. 6 named characters that died in Transformers Prime. 2 of which I don't even want to count because we knew them for 1 episode, and then they died and then were either never mentioned again, or their death was their defining moment. They fridged them. 3. Excuse me, 3. One of which actually had personality and was very interesting. I'll get into it. First off, Cliffjumper. He dies in the first episode, not a spoiler, voiced by Dwayne Johnson in the 1 episode. He appears again later in a flashback, but his defining character trait was that he was RC's best friend or partner, however you want to say it. They say partner, and then they also say partner, which is different connotations, and he dies immediately. We don't know anything about his character. It's just, oh my god, a character died. Starscream killed him. And then Starscream proceeded to brag about that singular death, that singular kill he got throughout the entire show. It's like, you mean to tell me over the millions of stellar cycles that the Cybertronian War has ever gone on, you can only brag about killing one Autobot, Cliffjumper, who was already half dead when you got him anyway? Oh my god. And then, okay, the second character that dies is Makeshift. He is arguably had the potential to be the coolest Decepticon. I mean, a shapeshifter spy? That's so cool! Dead in one episode. And we don't even know much about Makeshift's personality because he was imitating Wheeljack. And then he dies. Another character that dies and then we don't really care about because his sole purpose, his defining character moment was to get killed, and that was Tailgate. Again, a character connected to RC that was killed off to make her feel sad. They fridged Tailgate and Cliffjumper for the sole reason of angst. If the genders were reversed, people would have a problem with that. Think about that when it comes to the writing. The other characters that died, we actually gave a damn about. Like Silas. He dies much later in the series after being tortured to death by knockout on the operation table. Breakdown dies, rather graphically than off-screen. Dreadwing gets killed right in front of us. And then Megatron. Bumblebee doesn't count because he came back to life. Same with Optimus Prime. He came back to life. His death doesn't count. That is... Okay, 7. I forgot about... to count Breakdown. That is 7 characters that died. 3 of which were fridged immediately. They had 1 episode, or their entire point of existing was death. What was to die. That's it. And you want to say that's the darkest movie, or it is the darkest Transformers has ever gotten? First of all, clearly, you never read the comics, because holy shit do the comics get dark. Second, like you said, the 1980s movie was, holy god, the 1980s movie was dark. Ratchet dies on screen. We watch his innards turn to molten lava. It's like, that is dark. I bawled my eyes out. Especially when, Proud just dies. Same with Ironhide. Like, if you followed the show, and then you watch the movie, it's like, holy shit, no! And then Optimus Prime dies? It's horrible. It's horrible! And then off-screen, we see, like, Wheeljack and, someone else. Like Mirage or something. He dies, too. And I'm like, oh no! So when people say, oh, Transformers Prime is the darkest TV show, it's like... No, it is the... angstiest, yes, it is the angstiest TV show because Netflix's War for Cybertron hadn't come out yet. That is a terribly written show, borderline just the worst Transformers thing to ever come out aside from the Bay movies, which are their own version of just trash. But it's just angst. It's not actual sadness. Now, sure, it was like, well, no one, like, there's hardly any death in Transformers Armada, which I will advocate for it eventually. It's like, yeah, but Transformers Armada wasn't supposed to be dark or sad. It was Pokemon, but Transformers. That was Transformers Armada. And then the one defining death that we did, permadeath that we did have, was a beloved character that went on a full redemption arc from bad guy to okay to hero, regressing back to anti-hero, and then had the final showdown and his death brought together the Autobots and Decepticons to fight their true enemy, Unicron, with the Minicons' help, and that was Starscream. Everyone remembers Starscream's death in Armada because it was so gut-wrenching. Who actually cares about half the, like, oh no, Dreadwing died, aw. Or, oh no, Breakdown died. Oh man, I really like that guy. Shucks. Oh well. They're not comparable. Anyway, we got a lot of work to do, so we're gonna just... everything else. And people's like, oh, it's not the best writing, too. I don't even get me started on the writing. Oh my god, a lot of the characterizations... Name one character arc in Transformers Prime. Was just being petty, let's be real. And Prime feminized Starscream. I will never forgive them for what they did to Starscream. They feminized him. Not just, oh, they made him a weasel, like he was in the 80s, like, or a sniveling coward. No, they feminized him. Like, Yowie level feminized him, and it is disgusting. Absolutely revolting. Also, what they did to RC's personality in Prime, she should have been a completely different character. They should not have used RC for Prime. They should have used Chromia. It would have made sense, because Chromia is a hard ass. And, you know, she and Ironhide are a couple. Like, in the 80s, she and Ironhide are a couple. And she's a badass. Not RC. RC, that's just not her character. RC is kind of like Princess Leia of the group. And Princess Leia, while being a badass, she was not a hard ass. There's a big difference between being an angsty hard ass and a badass. Leia lost her entire planet. Like, she watched Alderaan blow up. She had every right to turn to the dark side, but she never did. Never tempted. Leia was the chosen one, if you ask me. What about Earthspark? I haven't seen Earthspark because I have heard mixed reviews on it, and the clips that I did try to watch, I was barely 5 minutes through a singular episode, and I'm like, alright, I got 10 bones to pick with this thing. That ding! I'll say ding every time something happens on screen, and it annoyed me, and I was just ding, ding, ding! That wasn't me just being a fat old man being like, it's not like what I grew up with. I was just genuinely irritated with a lot of the characterizations in Earthspark. I don't know what it was. Oh, and the humor just did not land for me. But then again, I was told Season 2 had worse writing because it happened during the writer's strike. So it's like, okay, I'll forgive the timing on jokes being a little bit off. And, you know, the jokes being a little bit stupid. And it's just, oh my god, this is Season 2 of a show that's supposed to be, like, the best thing since sliced bread. I'll just rewatch Beast Wars if y'all don't mind. If y'all don't mind. A hard ass in the sequels. We don't talk about the Star Wars sequels. Not unless you really want to piss me off. Armada Starscream was a sad little boy. Yes. See, now that was angst done right. Because he wasn't just, oh, woe is me, Metatron abuses me, No, it was just, what are we even fighting for anymore? I don't care! It says, I don't even care about the war, because I don't even know what we're fighting about. I'm tired! I'm tired of this grandfather! And yeah, he was abused by Megatron, but he wasn't like, I'm gonna go dye my hair black. You don't understand me, Mom. It's not a phase, Mom. That wasn't the Starscream. He had, like, genuine reasons to be upset and have trust issues. The only ones he really trusted were the minicons and the kids. And that was kind of like a weird, like, wait, you're not gonna betray me? You're not gonna stab me in the back? What do you want? What do you mean you're not gonna betray me? Everyone betrays me. That's a cycle of abuse that he was used to. Yeah, he had depth. He wasn't just You know, like Prime Starscream was. Prime Starscream was just, I am so evil and badass, and I broke a nail. Like, now, once or twice is funny, but being his entire character, that is character assassination if you ask me. That was just garbage. I hated every second of that. Even G1 Starscream wasn't that effeminate. They gave him heels. Why? Starscream wears boots. Because that's where his rocket launcher is. Also, Prime Starscream's posture? Literally this. This was literally his he had gamer posture. It's like, stand up straight. I'll hate on Transformers Prime only because people try to build it up as like the gold standard. I was like, nope, no, 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 nope, 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 nope. Beast Wars. A femboy in Prime. Not even like a femboy, because like femboys I don't have a problem with, but the fact that they made him purposefully effeminate in like an insult, and here's the thing, they made him effeminate and then they said, haha, look at that, he's like, he's wearing heels, that's the joke, look at how stupid he looks, his feminine qualities make him, you know, are a joke, they're an insult. That's where I have a problem. When you take femininity and make it an insult on any character, and then the only female character you have is like, you know, I'm not like other girls, I get my hands dirty. It's like, And then the one strong female character you have, as in June Darby, the mom, she's treated as a nuisance most of the time. Or RC is like, ugh, I've been protecting Jack a lot longer than she has. What does she know about his safety? It's like, okay, first of all, RC, that's his fucking mom. Shut up. Sit down. And I wouldn't have a problem with her having that mentality if it was addressed. But it's never addressed. She just always looks down on June. June is always treated like the butt end of the joke for, like, and I wear heels and everything. Even though that was funny when she was excited to see Optimus. I'm like, me too, girl. But it wasn't obvious. It's not Transformers Prime is not the most egregious offender of using femininity as an insult. It is not the worst offender. Don't get it twisted. I know there are worse offenders out there, especially like, you know, being a show based on something from the 80s, which, like, women exist? What? Huh, I guess they do. Anyway. The fact that they they made Starscream effeminate and said, yeah, these are his worst qualities. No. No, that is integrated misogyny. Whether you recognize it as that or not, and whether it was intended to be that or not, that is what it is. And it does, like, I don't want to use like, oh, it's catered towards boys. Also lessens it. I hate using that excuse, like, oh, the show is catered towards boys. It's like, yeah, but that doesn't mean you should still use it as a chance to insult women, you know, the person who gave birth to you. It's just, there's a lot of internalized misogyny that needs to be addressed, and I'm not gonna demonize the show for having internalized misogyny, especially since it was an old show. But when we're gonna treat it, if we're going to have any sort of improvement, we need to point out the problem and say, hey, this is a problem, and here's why. We need to fix that. We can't keep doing this shit. And then we can improve and move on. If you still like Transformers Prime, go right ahead. I just won't watch it with you. You can go watch it. Hi, Arkip. You came in the middle of one of my rants. I'll just watch TFA and Beast Wars. Not Beast Machines. I can't watch Beast Machines. I don't know. Maybe it's because of the art style. Maybe if I gave Beast Machines a chance, maybe I'd like it. Maybe I'd like it. But I just saw the animation style and the way the models looked in Beast Machines. I was just... It gave me the ick. Oh, his... eye marker thingies. At least in Rescue Bots, the fembot they introduced was both badass and properly feminine. Learn from her mistake. Yeah, what was her name? Same with the sister in Rescue Bots. Oh shit. What is her name? The pilot sister in Rescue Bots. The middle child. What was her name? Oh, it's right there. It's right there. I know one of the other girl kids was named like Frankie or something like that. And she was, she wore dresses. She did up her hair. She was proper, she wasn't, I'm not going to say she was a proper girl because that's not what that is. But she was more effeminate. And she was still very intelligent, very competent. And there was never like ew, a girl. Never that. And if there was, I don't remember. I probably blocked it out. But with the pilot sister, yeah, she was a woman of action. She was a bit of an adrenaline junkie. Of course she was. She was a pilot. All pilots are adrenaline junkies. But she was never like, ew, girl stuff. Because that's not what being an empowered woman is. Being a liberated or empowered woman is not rejecting things that are traditionally seen as feminine. It is embracing them. And even if it's not for you, if that kind of thing is not for you, go ahead, but don't make it a personality trait. Danny! Thank you! Oh my god! Danny! Big sister was Dan. Thank you! I know it wasn't Corey or something like that. It was one of those, like, it was short for something, and it's like, okay, yeah, Danny, yeah, Danny, short for Danielle. Yep. Thank you. It's been a hot minute since I've seen Rescue Bots, and I only watched for, like, the first few seasons. Rescue Bots Academy, man, what they did to Heatwave, that art style, what the balls did they do? What'd they do? Look at how they massacred my boy. Okay, one Transformers show I will sing the praises of day and night with no explanation other than kawaii is Cyberverse. Transformers Cyberverse is one of the cutest shows I've ever seen, and it's actually it's got some dark moments. Megatron in that series is actually terrifying. Soundwave is also, he actually has a personality. Holy shit, Soundwave actually has a personality. Which is another thing I hate about Prime. They took away Soundwave's personality. He had none. He only had Laserbeak, no Rumble, no Frenzy, no Ravage, no personality. Uncharismatic Boar, as he was called in the 80s movie. And that was back when he had a personality. And yes, Soundwave did have a personality in the 80s TV show. There's a scene where he's actively laughing his ass off at Starscream's hijinks. And where he's just sassing other people. And he cares deeply for Ravage. He cares deeply for all his mini-bots. Like, oh, Soundwave was so cool in Prime. It's like, okay, if your version of cool means no personality and a blank slate so you can project anything you want onto it, you know, like what a lot of girls do with brooding men, I mean, I guess you can say that is interesting, but he was basically a mindless, faceless drone. I've heard some good things about Cyberverse, but I don't remember it having an animal kawaii aesthetic. Oh, I'm saying like kawaii in like the air quotes because it gave me cuteness aggression watching it because it literally was just so cute. The Seekers were so funny, especially Thundercracker. Oh my god, Thundercracker was funny. Soundwave was actually terrifying. No, Soundwave had a personality. Shockwave was terrifying. Hello? Or a siren just drove by. You got the Linux PC! Great job, Waffles! I'm too scared to transfer over now. I mean, when I get a new computer, definitely I'll get it on the thumb drive and then put it in. But, yeah, in the meantime, I'll just deal with this garbage. Basically, Bumblebee was the best boy. Oh, absolutely. In Cyberverse, he's the cutest little thing. And his speaks through the radio gimmick only lasted half of the first season. And that was because he had amnesia. And funnily enough, in Cyberverse, more characters die on screen in very gruesome ways. They do have a few fake out deaths here and there, but I'll excuse those fake out deaths. And Ratchet, oh my god, Cyberverse Ratchet is the funniest. He's not my favorite Ratchet. TFA Ratchet is my favorite. I will warn you though, like, the episodes for Cyberverse, they're like 10 minutes, so it feels like you're moving at light speed through these episodes, so you can get through like an entire season in a day. But if you remember, the Clone Wars show, not Filoni's Clone Wars, the other one, I never remember his name. The one made by the guy who made Samurai Jack. He made a version of Clone Wars, and that like each episode was like in 3-minute intervals, and it was really just to like in between shows to advertise toys, but it had a continuous storyline, so it was really cool. Most annoying thing. I can ditch my laptop. Oh my god. I know, my phone and computer keep telling me to log into the OneDrive and to finish setting up my Microsoft account. Being like, I don't want you here! Go away! Off the top of my head, I think that's all I can really rant about for Transformers Prime. I mean, aside from what I said last stream about the sound design really just being nails on a chalkboard, it's not as dark or edgy. It's not as dark as people think it is. It's just angst, meaning it's empty. Very empty. The writing, you know, I can forgive kind of clunky writing. I can forgive that to a degree, because there's a lot of shows I like that I fully admit have very amateur-ish writing. Hang on, I gotta concentrate. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I guess the one thing that does irritate me about Transformers Prime is there's not a character arc in sight. Not a single character goes on an arc, except maybe Jack. But I don't actually know if he went on a character arc or if I was just charmed by Josh Keaton's performance. Who's to say? It was like, were they actually good, or was everyone just sucking Peter Cullen's dick? Who knows? Also, yes, Jeffrey Combs' performance as Ratchet was entertaining. But the way he was just so in love with Optimus is... I don't know. I'd say it's against his character. Because even Ironhide wasn't that in love with Optimus Prime. Hell, I'd argue even Alita 1 isn't that in love with Optimus Prime. But that version of Ratchet was just his cum dumpster. I'm sorry to get vulgar about it, but that's basically what it was. It's like... I get, you know, Optimus Prime was supposed to be a paragon of virtue and, you know, a charismatic leader, but he wasn't even that. He wasn't even charismatic or a paragon of virtue. He was just... Peter Cullen's sultry voice and a speech that's using big words. That's all Optimus Prime really was. There was one moment where he had a night where it was a sweet moment. It's where he softly smiled at Raph when he survived an attack by Megatron. One fleeting moment. Yes, you can all thirst over Optimus Prime all you want. I get it. Y'all have father issues. Y'all have issues with your father figure. But honestly, if you want a better sci-fi show that is actually really dark, has great character development, and doesn't interrupt every other episode to have a stupid, annoying human B-plot, Tron Uprising. Only one human features in all of the show Tron Uprising, and it's Kevin Flynn, and he's in, like, a singular episode. And whoever they got to voice that version of Flynn and Clue sounded just like Jeff Bridges. It wasn't him, because they couldn't afford him, but it sounded just like him. Okay, we're still here. Oh, anyway. That was my Transformers Prime rant that was promised on, the Twitch, Wednesday's Twitch stream. Which is linked in the description on both the Twitch channel and on my VOD channel here on YouTube. Links in the description below. Also, it's very clear for the writing that Smokescreen in Transformers Prime was supposed to be Rodimus. He was supposed to be Hot Rod, because that is just the way they wrote him. That was Hot Rod. The way he was slotted, allotted to alleged, potentially be the next Prime. That's Hot Rod. That's Rodimus. But no, they changed it to Smokescreen. Smokescreen. Oh my god, seemingly at the last second for no reason. And then it's like, wait, Smokescreen is an existing character in Transformers lore, and that is not his personality at all. So, like, same with RC. It's like, that's not RC, that's Chromia. So it gets a wee bit confusing when it's like, alright, obviously the writers wanted to do something else, but then the studio was like, no, you have to do this. It's like, okay, I guess. Hi ho, back to work. If you don't understand that reference, that is from Stargate SG-1. One of the funniest sci-fi live-action shows you'll ever see. Better than The Mandalorian. By a long shot, if you ask me. But then I have very mixed feelings on The Mandalorian. For a Star Wars thing, it's fine, but, people's... If you took the same show and made it animated, it would be very kid-friendly in comparison to what the other shows went through. So the only reason, like, the adults take Mandalorian seriously is because it's live action. Even though it's more tame, like I was saying, it's more tame than the cartoons. And way slower. Oh my god, some bits with Mandalorian, I'm like, okay, we're just doing the same thing for 12 episodes, and then suddenly, oh my god! The Empire is here! Like, Ahsoka had bad pacing. I guess it just carried over from Mandalorian, even though completely different directors and writers. Like, Bad Batch was darker than Mandalorian. Don't get it twisted. Just because people have this weird, thing against anything that's animated. They're like, oh, it's animated? Well, I'm not gonna watch it then. It's like, okay, but the animated Star Wars shows are a lot darker than the live action ones, and a lot more action packed. If you actually bothered to give it a try, but no, it's animated, so you never watch it. It's like, okay, well, Heavy Metal was animated, and that was just straight porn. With some world building in the background. We are almost 50 minutes into the stream, and I just finished one character. Let's just move on. I'm going the wrong way. I've had people confuse animation with simply drawing before somehow. How? How? How did... You're drawing... Like, okay, but I mean... Animation is still drawing, but you're drawing multiple frames to imply movement. So, like, you're gonna have to explain that one to me. This is breaking my mind a little bit. Like, what do you mean they thought drawing and animation were the same thing? Did they expect the characters to move on their own? You just draw them once and then they jump off the page like a old Disney animation? Is that what they think animation is? Y'all realize those are fake, right? Those aren't a reflection of reality, right? I swear, some people. Well, it happened this way in a movie. It's like, in a movie with green screen and stunt doubles and CGI and green screen and editing. Yeah, sure. Yeah, like, just like in the movies. Now you got a broken leg, just like in the movies. I've had some of the dumbest classmates ever. Alright, do that one? Nope, that's too big. This and that. Once said this guy animate sometimes, and the guy saw me drawing in my notebook and was like, "Do you draw an animation? Are you drawing an anime?" I can't even read that, man. That's just. Am I drawing an animation? I guess maybe he thought you meant that were you working on an animation right now? Maybe that's what he meant, but I don't know. I'm not gonna pretend to know the insides of that guy's brain. They aren't familiar with the idea of animation. Do they not watch movies? in Holland? Like, what do you mean they're not familiar with the idea of animation? Do they not watch Disney? Is there no, Holland? Not Holland. I'm sorry. Dutch. That's the Netherlands. I'm so sorry. They don't have an animation studio? Or, like, their own version of Hollywood? I know India does. So many people I've met didn't grow up with this. Oh, that's probably it. That's just, like, growing up in America, people not knowing what animation is kind of like, we've had animation since the 50s. So, it's really weird for, like, an American to have no idea what animation is. Having no respect for it, unfortunately, is still pretty common. But, you know, like, my dad is one of those people. It's not that he doesn't have respect for animation, it's just he expects it to be childish immediately. Like, anytime we're watching something and he's like, "Oh, what's this? Oh, it's animated," and then leaves. It just... Okay. You know, half of the movies you like are actually animated with a computer, right? Still animation. But, you know, he doesn't see it that way. Man, this side of my head is always the problem child. Why'd I put the camera over here? Because I put the thing over here. I was like, this is my better side. Just Non-animated crime series, that's basically it from... Sheesh. Y'all need some animation in your lives. Pretty sure y'all have plenty of folklore that would make very interesting animated shorts. And that's not a dig or anything. I'm being genuinely, like, I'm being serious. It'd be great for tourism. And what I mean by that is not like people would go to see your animation studio, but like if you made like a series of short films, usually animated because they're readily accessible and more of a work of art, based on Dutch mythology and history and like your country, people would go. They'd want to see it. Because of Cartoon Saloon, I think a lot of people have visited Ireland and then like actually know more about their folklore and mythology and have more of a respect for it. I certainly do. I love Cartoon Saloon. They're the ones that made Secret of the Kells, Song of the Sea, Breadwinner, and Wolfwalker. Or Wolfwalkers. Mouse, hello? It's doing something a little, If I own an animation studio anywhere in the future, it would make slice of life film. I'd be able to... Will I be able to handle this much pressure? No, but damn if it would be cool. Well, that's why by that point you'd be able to hire more people, because, like, if you just work hard to achieve your dreams, it'll succeed, right? Right? I swear, hope is literally the only thing keeping me together right now. I mean, it wasn't animated, but Norway, the Norwegian government funded the production of a found footage film called Troll Hunter. And that got a lot of people, usually like Americans, interested into the country of Norway, and most of the movie was just them showing off their national parks. So it was also just an advertisement for the parks and talking about wildlife conservation and why we need to be more conscious about like things like building a freeway through a forest and the repercussions of that. It's not like in your face, and it's not an in your face environmental movie, but it does have those undertones that are really nice. Nice and subtle. I mean, I don't know if the tourism to Norway jumped up, but it made me definitely interested in wanting to see the countryside and just stand in the same spots and like, hey, they filmed this scene in the movie. That was this exact park that you can go visit right now. And my god, the trolls in Troll Hunter look so good. I rewatched it recently, and that CGI, I don't want to say it holds up today, because it surpasses what's coming out today. It is superior, in fact. Which is infuriating and impressive. Even when it came out at the time, I was like, wow, I thought it was real for a second. I was like, oh, wow, the animatronics for this much are really impressive. It's all CGI? What? There weren't any animatronics? Huh? Very well done. I don't know if there weren't any animatronics, it's just off the top of my head. I don't remember them using any for Troll Hunter. I think it was all just CG. Very well done, CG. That's what a lot of people don't realize about film in general. Whether it be live action or animated, making a feature film is great. It can be good or terrible PR for anything. Like Jaws, a great movie, terrible PR for sharks. Like, actually detrimental. However, then you make a movie like Free Willy, and then suddenly everyone loves orcas. Even though I have always been quite perturbed by those creatures. Like, I was watching I said this a few streams ago, but I continue to watch nature videos. And I was watching one about when it was a shark, and they say, oh wow, a close encounter with a giant great white shark, and literally the shark, like, you're the diver. Hang on, let me get it. Alright. You're the diver, and this is the shark. And it swam away. Wasn't even coming straight at him. Was not on the attack. It was, she was just cruising. And then saw the human and went, ew. Ew. And left. That was your close encounter with the shark. And then meanwhile with orcas, I saw a video that was like, oh, playful orcas play chase with a boat. That orca was staring directly into the camera, was on the attack. I swear to God, that orca was on the attack. It was coming straight at the boat. It was not playing around. Now that just might be my bias coming in, but it's like, that orca could have done far more damage to that boat than a shark ever could. Yet when a shark is in the water, when a shark dares to be in the ocean, oh my god, close encounters in a shark-infested waters. Shark-inhabited waters. Sharks live in the ocean. If you're going to be in the ocean, there will be sharks. What if a pod of orcas come up to your little kayak and they're like, oh, look at the cute little orcas. I'm just paddle faster, pedal fast. Get the fuck out of there, man. I know no recorded kills by an orca in the wild on a human have ever been recorded. But still, I'll take a great white any day. Because sharks actually, here's a secret about sharks. They don't give a shit about humans. They don't really care. Some sharks even form bonds with divers and recognize them, and will swim up to them. Some. Others just, like, don't give a shit. While the rest of them are like, is that a human? Oh, let's get out of here. There's a human over there. And honestly, they have every reason to. Now, I know people being afraid of sharks, it does have a little bit of a, one of those genetic traumas. Or, like, a genetic fear response. Like, even if it's the smallest thing ever, we are kind of genetically predisposed to have a natural fear or aversion to spiders, snakes, and sharks. Those are, like, the big three I can think of. We should be more afraid of gators than of sharks, but holy shit. I don't want to say this, because it's probably not true. But there's a good possibility that if Jaws was never made into a book or movie, people's fear of sharks would be very limited. Or at the very least, they wouldn't recognize. The sharks would be treated as this unknown. You'd be like, oh yeah, oh, one person got bit. Oh, are they okay? Oh yeah, they're fine. Oh, okay. You're more likely to get killed by a cow. A cow! Than be killed by a shark. And honestly, why are people so afraid of sharks? Just don't go in the ocean. They're not gonna jump scare you in the middle of your backyard. I mean, bears do that. But bears suffer from what we would call the pupper face. Bears, while being a dangerous apex predator, kind of look like a dog in some angles. They look like a little puppy. So no one can take them seriously. Hang on, I need to go take care of that. I think one of the cats is gonna tear down the door. Where? There it is. I shall be right back. I gotta close my bedroom door when I let a certain cat in, because then she'll just come over to my office and scream at me for not filling up the food bowl. I was like, you ate it all already. What am I supposed to do? But she doesn't see it that way. She sees it as an injustice. I know, I can't feed you more. You ate it all. You're gonna get cat diabetes. Which she is like that close to getting. So I don't want to say Jaws is the reason people have a fear of sharks, because like I said, we are genetically predisposed to have a natural aversion to a giant finned apex predator in the ocean, in a place that we're not naturally supposed to be. I get that. However, I think a lot of people's childhood fear of sharks wouldn't have been, and especially they wouldn't have gotten a bunch of frickin' spin-offs. Or those stupid, Sharknadoes and Alien Shark, Ghost Shark, what's another one? Avalanche Shark, Sand Sharks. Now, a sand shark is a real animal, but there's a stupid movie of the same name. It was like, you gotta be shitting me. Or Sharktopus versus Wolf Whale, or whatever the hell it is. Like, nah. Now, I also will admit my fear of orcas does kind of stem from film adaptations, but it also kind of stems from the just watching nature documentaries and seeing how they hunt. It's like, that is an affront to my mental health. Why would you do that? Why would you show a child this? I'm terrified for life now. I feel what people feel for sharks, I feel for orcas. Like, I hear the music. I'm like, wait, don't dump me in the ocean. There could be an orca in here. Oh no! Every time I dip my head below the water, they're sending me an orca right there staring at me. Oh no! They're gonna rip me to pieces. And I get it. I know it's irrational, but that could just be my northerner descent being naturally afraid of orcas more than sharks. Because I think my northern ancestors might have had more run-ins with orcas and seals than they did with sharks. Thankfully, I don't live in the same jurisdiction as an orca or a leopard seal, and Jesus Christ, cat, you scared me. Just jumped down from that shelf. I'm glad you're having luck designing those C's waffles. I'm having the worst time of my life. Now, the design I have so far for this character, or this OC in general, is coming along. It's just slower than what I'd like it to be. And then I'm also sitting there like, am I even gonna use this character? What am I even doing? Am I just wasting my time? You know, just going through like the 5 stages of grief. That's not the right term. Just going through the motions of being like, alright, do I even want to use this OC? Am I even gonna use it? What's the point of designing this character? I'm probably never gonna draw them again, and then, you know, it's just a spiral. Just spiraling. Smack myself in the face with a pen. Oh, I'm glad you're finding luck. Oh, excuse me. So I'm glad you're finding luck. Or at the very least, you're making it work. I'm gonna save, because it's been a hot minute since I've done that. I don't know, maybe I'm wired weird. Like, watching shark videos doesn't scare me at all. A few jump scares here and there, but you know, it's a jump scare. Whatever, I'm gonna get a little like, woo! When something appears out of nowhere. I do that with my own cat. But something about watching orca videos, even when they're being cute, it's just, I get a chill down my spine and I stop breathing, and it becomes a manual action. I'm just... Oh my god, get the hell out of the water. I'm like screaming at the people through the screen. Get out! Get out of the water. Oh, excuse me. But now and again, I just grab one of the... from the stack of unfinished ones and draw them. Yeah, I got a bunch of unfinished characters and just save files that I haven't even gotten around to. I'm just gonna do the flats for this stream because I can tell this is just gonna take me 12 years. I'm really proud of Ivy Whisper's expression here. It really looks like he's thinking. It's like, It helps when you're struggling with drawing a character's expression. It genuinely does help to make the expression yourself. Stop yawning. I haven't cracked into this, even though I have coffee left over. It's cold and it's not doing its job. I could never be Amish. Not with this. Not when that exists. Only way I can be Amish is if I got amnesia and had no memory of coffee. And then just spent the rest of my life wondering why I had a perpetual headache. Couldn't do it. Okay, I finally get to color his paws now. Oh, good heavens. There we go. Yeah, next time I wash my hair, I'm definitely giving it a whack. Maybe a retouch of my layers, because it's been a while since I've trimmed my my layers. Some angles just confuse the ever-living out of me. Almost forgot about his hair. That would have been embarrassing. Oh my god. It's bad enough when I accidentally misspell a character's name, or oh my god, I've had so many typos I've had to fix last minute and then just pretend and just hope nobody noticed. As long as I make sure that the page numbers are accurate. Holy god, if the page numbers aren't accurate, I scramble. Almost. Almost. Good thing I caught it. Nobody saw anything. You didn't see anything. I literally did that to someone. Be like, hey, oh yeah, this character, Bramblefur. It's like, Bramblefur. Oh no! And I fixed it and reposted and like re-updated the picture. I was like, you didn't see anything. Now I am uber paranoid about misspelling certain words. I know there's some old pages with typos and misspellings, especially when I was handwriting the lettering or like the text. Holy. Yeah, plenty of typos in that one. Now I just type it all the dialogue on a Google Doc. Not a Google Doc, on a LibreOffice doc. And then copy paste it into the text tool. There. Everything is spelled correctly. Now I just gotta figure out how I'm gonna format the damn page. This, that, and the other thing. What color am I think I'll just use this color. There. A lot of people forget that line stripe has a scar right there. A lot of people forget about it. Including me. Which is why I was drawn from the other angle. Excuse you, what color was that supposed to be? As problem was trying to speedrun these pages. The amount of misclicks I've done, especially recently, and I've only noticed the amount of misclicks and misinputs I've done while drawing this year. So, obviously something horrible has happened to me. Because I used to not have these many misclicks. Okay, now the other kitty cat. Oh, he's also got a... Yeah, there you go. I can't wait for the comic to finally move on so I can add other characters to the roster. But at the same time, I'm just like, more characters to draw. It's just, I already have trouble trying to format clan meetings and, like, scenes where all the cats are present. So now, I mean, when we add more characters eventually, it's just, you know what? Y'all are somewhere else. Or I'll just make their designs so simple, they're just a little blob that I can put in the background somewhere. So there you go, background character. Little Blorbo. I was gonna say I could name them something so that their initials were BC, like background character. But then I remembered Brambleclaw. And Brambleclaw also has the initials BC. It's like, it's kind of funny. Brambleclaw was anything but a background character, but my goodness, was he a real piece of work. To put it lightly. If you know, you know. If you don't, well, that's fine. It's not necessary to know the, like, all of the Warrior Cat's lore to understand the comic, but it does help. I try to explain things on the go, but I do realize I have fumbled when it comes to introducing characters and establishing what their genders are. Because I've had so many commenters, not blaming them, because that was honestly my bad, not knowing what characters' names are, because they're just not, like, here's the character on screen. This is this character. They are this gender. Because I just don't do that. Because why would they go, hello, Brindlefur, my fellow she-cat. How are you doing on this non-Wing Clan day? It says, how are you doing on this Fang Clan day? You must miss your old territory of Wind Clan, of which you are the only one here of that heritage. You know, it's... Ugh. Now. But then again, I'm constantly in my mind going like, why do they think Shorttail is a she-cat? Why do they keep calling him her? Why do they keep saying that? Why do they keep thinking that he's a chick? I have no idea what gave them that idea. Then also, it's just not, I just don't say it because, like, the characters know. So I'm just trying to find, like, a good balance of, alright, how do I introduce these characters without making it so ham-fisted? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. Sounding natural in the dialogue. Or, you know, or do I just, every time they appear on screen, I, like, do the thing that Sonic the Hedgehog has, where, like, every time they appear on screen or they say their name, it's like, well, hello, Styx the Badger. we get it. You have 18 wheels and a big dick. Stick shift, I mean. So anyway, that's, one thing I noticed that I need to work on a little bit more when it comes to writing in comics. Because, like, with the narration in a book, or with animation and voice acting, you don't really need to worry about introducing... I mean, you do still need to think about how a character is introduced, but it's like... their gender is pretty obvious sometimes with a voice. The fact that I just give characters lashes for no reason. Only reason FawnKit doesn't have any lashes, a lot of people have said he for FawnKit, which I don't blame them. She doesn't have, like, big, luscious lashes, but that's because she's a baby. But in the next few pages coming up, they do refer to her as she in the like the dialogue. So it was like, okay. And I can't just trust that everyone's going to check the character bios or read the description. Heaven forbid the description exists for a reason. But... this from up is solid. Yeah, I know the anatomy in this. In this panel is a little off. Jolene, 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 Jolene. I'm begging of you, please don't take my man. Jolene, 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 Jolene. Please don't take him, even though you can. Beauty is beyond compare, with flaming locks of auburn hair, in every skin, and an eyes of emerald green. Your voice, your smile is like a breath of spray, and your voice is soft like summer rain, and I cannot compete with you, Jolene. He talks about you in his sleep. There's nothing I can do to keep from crying when he calls your name, Jolene. Jolene, 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 Jolene. I'm begging of you, please don't take my man. Jolene, 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 Jolene. Please don't take him, even though you can. And then the rest of the lyrics kind of escape me and they're kind of all over the place. You could have your choice of man, but I could never love again. He's the only one for me, Jolene. Had to have this talk with you. My happiness depends on you. Whatever you decide to do, Jolene. Jolene, 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 Jolene. I'm begging of you, please don't take my man. Jolene, 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 Jolene. Please don't take him, even though you can. I love that song. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I probably got all the lyrics mixed up, but it's been a while since I've heard that song, so you'll forgive me. Now, speaking of music, there are some... I had a thought the other day of not really having a karaoke stream because I wouldn't know how to set that up. But there are some days where I just want to listen to music while I work. And while, you know, live streaming, you get the copyright strikes and whatnot. To avoid that, I just have a singular song playing for the stream while I'm listening to, you know, everything under the sun while singing, because singing is not the same as going nonverbal, but it is close enough for me. So, the dilemma is, do I just say, fuck it, one of these days, and just have, a sing-along stream, basically, where I'll just be listening to music and singing with the mic on so y'all could hear. Ooh, that needs to... But then, you know, I can't do it on Twitch because then as soon as the live stream ends, it'll just be mute the whole time, and that's no fun. And I could do it on YouTube, even though I'll get the biggest yellow $ of death on that live stream, but it'll be fine because at least y'all can still hear the music and the singing. So it would be a Friday stream. Not anytime soon, but I am, like, the thought crossed my mind, and it was just... Would that be a good idea? Or, like, would that be something chat would be interested in? I would just put my playlist on shuffle, and then we listen to songs, and then you get to see my abject horror and embarrassment if a meme song starts playing. Heaven forbid we get rickrolled. Or if I start crying because some of the songs I listen to are just sad for no reason. would have to leave a note that I'm not looking at chat at all. I would not be reading chat, basically, at all, because I would just be locked in and working. And y'all would just get to see behind the scenes of me just... No webcam, no nothing, just me singing. And, well, me singing along to songs that y'all could hear. Because if I'm just wearing headphones and y'all can't hear anything and I'm singing, it would just be like... And nothing else matters. Never cared for what things I do. You know, y'all wouldn't be hearing anything, so I was like, I mean, I'd save the copyright strike, but be like, I am listening to music. Y'all can just hear me mumble. But then again, I do my best singing when no one's around. I think everyone can agree. They do their best singing when there's not a soul around to bear witness. Or when you're in the car. Sometimes I do my best singing when I'm in the car. I can easily understand how you could easily take my man. He's the only one for me, Jolene. It would mostly just be a stream of vibes. It wouldn't actually be a full sing-along, because a lot of the songs that I listen to, I just vibe with. But I don't know. Would that be fun at all? Or am I just being the Lulu? Y'all want to show up and hear my off-key singing and my ADHD playlist? We'd put that shit on shuffle and let it ride. Because I have show tunes in this bitch, so we'll be going from, like, Metallica to My Little Pony to big Gangnam Style and then Ninjago soundtrack. Oh. It's lagging. Why is thing lagging? Why you lag? Okay. Now you're not lag no more. You will not lag anymore. Oh, for fuck's sake, please don't die on me. Okay. Maybe it's okay? I don't know. That scared me. He's the only one for me, Johnny. Then it wouldn't be me just repeating the same few lyrics every once in a while, and I wouldn't have to remember about... I wouldn't have to worry about remembering the lyrics, because guess what? They're already playing. her eyes as black as night now. Pulls those shades down tight. There's a smile when the pain comes. Pain gonna make everything alright. Says she talks to angels. Says they all know her name. A angel. They call her out by her name. Dun, 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 dun. She never mentions the word addiction in certain company. She'll tell you she's an orphan after you meet her family. Gives a smile when the pain comes. I'm saying the lyrics out of order, I know I am. Pain gonna make everything alright. Alright, says she talks to angels. Says they all know her name. Yeah, yeah, angel. Don't you know they call her out by her name? Dun, 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 dun. Oh, that means I wouldn't be able to play American Idiot by Green Day because they do have a slur in there. You know, if I'm gonna get demonetized for, for copyright, I don't want to get demonetized or yeeted off the planet for accidentally having a song that says slurs in there. Like, let's not have that. Don't you know they call her out by her name? She don't know no lover, no man I ever seen. Yeah, to her that ain't nothing, but to me that means everything. Dun, 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 dun. So obviously I would have to pick through some of the songs that I would listen to if I were to do this. That's the thing. I don't know if I'm gonna. Hey, a new character incoming, so Y'all are getting an exclusive sneak peek on the future pages. Actually, I'm like a good month and a half ahead of where the next for like where the comic is going to be or is. So this is like some major future spoilers. So I'm just gonna leave that bit since it's gonna be motion blurred anyway. Okay. Is that an emergency or can that wait a bit? I think one of the dogs wants in and I can't tell if it's one of those, one of those non-emergency one-ins or if it's like, I will start screaming if you don't let me in. It's a fine line between the two of them. But to me, it means everything. She's gonna go bark at another thing. Oh god, I should not chug that. Oh my god. Ugh. Oh, well, probably it's the male being here. Whoops. know, because of how the fur is there, that might be the best option. Just so there's no stray pixels of the background. Shoot. Involved. Because that would really be embarrassing. Oop, 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 oop. Okay, let's see. Ooh. Always that one triangle right there. That's on a different layer. That is here. I got the guitar from She Talks to Angels going through my head. It's such a good song. I'm on the completely wrong everything. There we go. It's one of those songs where I like that song, and I can't place why. It's just one of those songs that every time it plays, I get unreasonably happy. Love your design. I'm not sure which design you're talking about, but thank you. Unless you're just talking about my designs in general. I try hard. Apparently not hard enough. Excuse you? Again, maybe a music stream would be a really fun experiment because the music really helps me lock the F in. Because I'm not thinking about anything else. I'm just thinking about drawing and singing along. Which is still a creative thing to do, but it's less creative or mentally strenuous for me than, you know, trying to draw and talk at the same time, especially when your brain won't shut up or move on to a different topic. It's like, it would be phantasmical if you could just mosey along to the to something completely different instead of being stuck on this one thing. That would be ever appreciated. Always gotta just be on in a feedback loop for all eternity because clarity is for nerds. think that might be an emergency. Hang on. I need to go, let the damn dog in again. Be right back. No, no, no. You go away. Alright, now I'm back. The menace came back in as well. He led you to his hiding place. In the lightning thread spun silver tongue. The red bells beckon you to ride. Handprint on the driver's side. Looks a lot like engine on. Feels like being pumped on a small and popsicles in the summer. Deep red bells, deep as I've been down. Deep red bells, deep as I've been down. Oh, it always has to come to this. The red bells ring this tragic time. He's lost sight of the overpass. The daylight won't remember that. Whose speckled folds raised on your bones. Who took the time to fold your clothes and shook the valley of the shadow. Deep red bells, deep as I've been done. Deep red bells, deep as I've been done. Excuse me. Oh. And then music chorus. Thank you. Where does this mean world cast its cold eye? Who's left to suffer long without you? Does your soul cast about like an old paper bag, past empty lots and early graves? But those like I always lose my voice on this last verse. I always lose my voice. Oh my god. Those like you who lost their way, murdered on the interstate while the red bells rain like thunder. Ugh, I always lose my voice on that verse, on that line specifically. Always voice crack, or I get choked up because it's just a... It's a sad song. The song is called Deep Red Bells by, I don't remember. I think her name's Nico. I don't remember her full name, but yeah, it's called Deep Red Bells. And it's a song about the victims of the Green River Killer. And, oof. It's another one of those songs that stabbed me right in the feels, but I know why I like this song. Because of the history behind it. The other dog was also out. I'll be right back. Again. Ugh. Does your soul cast about like an old paper bag past empty lots and early graves? But those like you who lost their way, murdered on the interstate while the red bells rain like thunder. Oh, deep red bells, deep as I've been done. Deep red bells, deep as I've been done. Oh. Funny, I found that song by accident. I was looking for songs kind of like with creepypasta vibes. I was like, alright, creepy alt music. And then that song popped up. I was like, huh, this is interesting. I don't know what it's about. Looked it up. Oh. Oh, that happened in my state. E. I think Chris made a video on the Green River Killer, although I can't be... I don't know for certain if she did. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, she did. She's done a lot of cults, crime, conspiracy, serial killers, and murder. Or whatever her, intro is. She's done, recently she's done a lot of videos talking about the lives of some celebrities, and including their mysterious deaths. You know, like, Princess Diana, Marilyn Monroe, Michael Jackson. Very interesting. That's why I also like the song Candle in the Wind by Elton John. Now, originally he wrote it for Marilyn Monroe. You know, goodbye Norma Jean, because Norma Jean was her real name. But then for Princess Diana's funeral, he reworked it he reworked the lyrics for Diana. Both versions are beautiful and sad. And they both kind of work because, like, these wonderful, interesting, smart, kind-hearted women, mostly known for their beauty and grace by, you know, the media, and when they died, just the paparazzi just swarmed. And the media was just like, oh my god, Marilyn Monroe, found in the nude. It was like, she died. Let's have some decorum. And then, you know, Diana, that whole situation with the press actually leading to her death, if you ask me. So it's just sad. It seems to me like you lived your life like a candle in the wind. Never know when the rain set in, and your footsteps will always fall here. A candle burned out long before, but your legend never will. Wait, that's the wrong color. There we go. That was the nose, not the tongue. Right, here we go. I think I'm gonna do his claws in white, even though most kitty claws are clear with a bit of pink in them. Every time I've drawn them or colored them that way, people got confused, and rightfully so. I mean, they're like, "Well, is there blood on their claws?" It's like, no, that's just the quick of the claw. Interpretation. It's always open. I know you guys can't hear that, but oh my god, like a whole flock of birds just suddenly started tweeting at each other. It's like, oh, okay. I mean, yeah, it sounded like someone flew into the wrong tree, like you in the wrong neighborhood, buddy. I love when people say, oh, I just love the sounds of the bird songs in the morning. You know exactly what they're singing about, right? I think Thomas Sanders had a Vine about that. Am I right? Like, Thomas Sanders says, there's nothing more peaceful than having a fresh cup of coffee and listening to the birds sing in the morning. And then there's him in a tree. It's like, which one of you ladies wants a piece of this, huh? Hey! Hey! Get out of my tree! It's like, oh my god, that was so funny. Of all the Viners, both hilarious and cringy, I think Thomas Sanders was the one I missed the most. Oh, I don't know if any new developments have popped up, but apparently Vine was supposed to come back. It was like, or like a new version of the app was supposed to come out that could transfer over all the files. Like, ooh, that'd be interesting. I mean, I wouldn't get one, obviously. Wasn't interested in having a Vine channel even when Vine was relevant. Okay, yeah, that is the correct color. Huh. Just seemed like it wasn't. Okay, since I've never... New character incoming. I have never drawn her before, so these first few like interactions are going to be a lot of trial and error when it comes to getting her design down. Okay. It's the tips. And then boom, boom. Something like that. Chin. On the sides we can't see her scars. And then it's a stripe down the back and to the tail. That is blurred out. And then on this side, you won't see much. You won't see much of her markings. Okay. Again, ears flat, so it's chest, which we can't see from here. Paws. Tail. And then down, chin, back. Is this the right color? Okay, yeah, it is. It just looks weird. There, and then awkward stripes. Now, I cannot take credit for this character's design. I did adopt her off of from someone. I can't remember if it was DeviantArt or Amino, back when Amino was relevant. So I will credit the original designer when this page finally drops, and I think I have the designer credited in her bio. Any further face markings? Okay, no, just that. Candle burned down long before, the legend never will. Before anyone screams ghosts about what's happening to my curtains in the background, two things. I have a cat and the window is open. Okay, we finally see her chest a little bit. It goes up to there. Right. Oh, I drew one of her paws backwards. Oh well. Oh crap, her scars. Oops. That's gonna be one of the, oh my god, this is gonna be the hardest part of her design. Remembering to draw her scar. Even though that's, like, very important to her backstory. That's gonna be a pain in the ass. Hello? Okay, is my stream buffering? As in, like, internet's going bad? Or is my actual, Streamlabs glitching? Because if Streamlabs is glitching, that means I'm in trouble because I can't fix that. Aside from getting a different program. I mean, which wouldn't be hard to do. It'd just take me like a day to set up. But still, just an inconvenience. Oh, I used an airbrush. That's why. Because this is supposed to be like mackerel style stripes. Okay. So they're not like solid lines, just little smudges. There we go. Save and zip. Okay. Oh my god. Glitch just uploaded a trailer for the next episode of Amazing Digital Circus. I purposefully do not watch the trailers for episodes. I prefer going in blind. So, no spoilers. No one tell me shit. I will get very angry if you do. I'm just gonna put a little bit of a squiggle here, just so I remember what's supposed to be in these frames for later. There we go. And this is going to be airbrushed in, same with this background. This I can put a bit of the line art in. Just so I don't go too crazy with it. And just to ground these characters a bit more in the background. Even though I'll be coloring all that anyway. Okay, we save again. And, shorter stream this time. That's all the pages I have ready to do. The next page still needs to get sketched and lined, and then the next, like, 10 pages need to get thumbnailed, and then those are the last pages of the year. So, we're in the home stretch, even though it's only March, for getting the pages done. And the faster I get the pages done, the faster I can go back to doing nothing. Anyway, so, thank you all so much for watching, whether you watch live or after the fact. Either way, I love you. If you're interested in the comic that I'm working on, I post it every Tuesday and Thursday on DeviantArt, which is linked in the description. I also stream on Twitch Mondays and Wednesdays. I haven't been as you know, committed to the Twitch channel as I wanted to for the past few weeks. I explained it on Twitch because, you know, I was listening to an audiobook and it sucked me right in. And I can't stream and listen to an audiobook at the same time. I mean, I could. It would just be a very boring stream, because it would just be dead quiet. Because y'all wouldn't hear anything. I just pulled some hair. Ow! Anyway. There's that. Oh, and if you don't want... and if you don't have a Twitch account, or if you don't even want to touch that godforsaken website with a 9.5-foot pole, fret not. I post the Twitch VODs on a separate YouTube channel called Just Runes VODs, which is also linked in the description. Anything else? Let me know what you guys think of doing a sing-along stream, because that sounds like it'd be fun. I'd lose my voice, And, you know, there's no monetary value for that. It would just be fun singing for me while working. Let me know if you'd be interested in that. It would definitely be a YouTube thing, not a Twitch thing, because I just don't want to upload a mute stream. Oh, that would be funny. My knuckles need to pop. I need food and probably go get the mail and use the bathroom. So, we did the flats this time. Next stream is going to probably be a bunch of line art on Twitch, because this Sunday I need to thumbnail the crap out of those pages, or it ain't gonna get done. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you here next Friday. I guess I'm doing that now.